Tech savvy people of Reddit, what is a computer tip you are sure most haven't heard of? If you like to play games with a controller on another monitor, you can move the screen to different monitors using Shift Windows left or right arrow. I found this useful for games that don't allow monitor selection, since you'd normally have to change your primary display. Shift mouse wheel scrolls left and right. CTRL mouse wheel zooms in and out in most programs. CTRL00 resets to 100% zoom in a lot of places too. If you constantly swap between accounts for the same service, for example Google, Microsoft, some browsers let you set up profiles Edge, Chrome, etc. For example, you might use Google for work and personal use, and it's a pain because it'll default to one account every time. If you set up two browser profiles, you can keep them separate and both signed in. Firefox container tabs are great for this. Basically the same thing, and they're color coded in the tab bar. Facebook container is a great add-on. It keeps your FB session to a separate container, so Zuckerberg can't track your web browsing. This one is simple, but holding the shift key in combination with other keys will often reverse the action of the other key. For example, spacebar on a web page scrolls down, shift spacebar scrolls up. Tab on a web form will move the cursor forward to the next element in the form. Shift tab moves you backward. Wow, I didn't know about that. I knew shift tab, but I didn't realize it was because of that. Shift space is because of shift tab. The latter sometimes works on DOS programs. It is usually a waste of time hitting the backspace key more than 2 or 3 times. Using CTRL backspace you delete the whole word. Thing I hate is that it isn't necessarily universal. Do it when you're renaming a file in Explorer and you get a square symbol, the non-print delete character link. They fixed it in Notepad but not Explorer. Might have been WordPad in Windows 8, 10. I don't remember, because I don't use either of those apps like ever. CTRL shift arrows is still very short on key presses, and will work almost the same as shift CTRL backspace. Edit type shift instead of CTRL. If you have issues sometimes with games and have an NVDIA GPU, delete everything in C program data NVIDIA Corporation downloader. Also, after many updates this directory might have a lot of old downloads taking up significant amount of space also. WinKey keeps a history of all your recent text copies. So if you selected copy on multiple items, you can choose which one to paste without having to go back to wherever you copied a word or phrase from. WinKey Shifts is great for taking screenshots of the whole screen or parts of the screen. Some more WinKey fun. Some folks don't know. WinKey navigates or hides the desktop. WinKey E opens up the file explorer. WinKey X opens a dialog where you can choose different settings. WinKey tab gives a nice overview of all different open apps to navigate through, and many more. WinV. Didn't know about this. Worked at Manuscript for over a decade. Edit to first time you tried on Windows 10 build October 2018 or later. It'll prompt you to enable clipboard history. Thanks you pajama drunk, and you erase the app if you don't enable it and you want it later but don't see a prompt anymore. You need to activate it. To activate this shortcut, select Start Settings System Clipboard and turn on the toggle under Clipboard History. Source link. At work this is disabled by group policy precisely because of the security implications. Control Windows keyed only works for W10. This will create a new desktop. You can switch between desktops using Control Windows key right left arrow. To close those extra desktops you just made, Control Windows key F4. It'll move any programs you have open. Grabbing a program and shaking it will minimize every other program. Shaking it again will maximize them back up. CTRL wise redo. Everyone knows CTRL Z, but somehow don't know the other. Though in some programs it's CTRL Shift Z, because why not? Because Adobe. That's why. If you're like me, you probably don't remember everything you've put on your hard drive and keep running out of free space. I recommend a program such as WizTreeLink. Basically it gives you a graphical representation of what you got on your hard drive so that you can delete those 25 gigs of WI-ROMs you downloaded last year into one of the 53,935 folders on your desktop and had forgotten all about. You're supposed to just get another hard drive and begin making a NAS. Reading the error message usually explains the error message. My go-to Quicket story. I support a lot of doctors and had multiple in 1 week do the exact same thing. I opened Outlook and it says I have to sign in to continue, but I can't get my emails. Did you sign in? No. I closed that prompt. Why won't this work? UK keyboard configuration maybe. I was messing about a while ago to see what each Win thing was and the emoji window came up from. Then a while after a colleague was saying I really want to add a laughing smiley and I said to press Win and they thought I was some sort of tech genius just from that. It's Win. For US configuration. It's got a ton of the special symbols and characters now. So no need to remember Alt-Num to get any more. uTorrent is a spy we use torrent faster and safer. And seed what uTorrent do it for the rest of us. Edit shameless plug switch to Firefox if you're not using it already and install a block origin on it to block trackers and ads. Enable all of the block lists in its settings and you're good to go. Seeding torrents generously is also useful if you are ever accused of a crime. Use a only because the Constitution guarantees you will be judged by a jury of your peers. If you work in healthcare you really need to know that WinL immediately locks your computer. Useful for keeping eyes off patient data. Deleting something doesn't magically make it disappear. If you delete something by mistake, it is fairly easy to recover it using specialized software. If you want something gone, you have to rewrite the sector multiple times. Yup. Deleting a file basically removes it from being referenced. Someone check me on this. The data is still there and goes away when it's written over. Recover works pretty well for recovering stuff in my experience. Ctrl Shift will reopen any closed tabs. Windows key will open the emoji panel if you feel the need to add some into whatever you're doing on a Windows 10 PC. Google is your friend. Any problem you have, look for a solution on Google before paying a professional. Half the time that's what they do. If at some point you are held at gunpoint and somebody says now, copy paste text without using the mouse or using the C, X, or V keys, you can use Shift Delete, Control Insert, and Shift Insert as cut, copy, and paste respectively. Got a couple here. Always at least take a look at the custom options when installing a program. Never know if that installer is trying to sneak a potentially unwanted program in. With how often it resolves issues, turn it off and back on again. Yeah, everyone's heard of it, but seriously try this before calling support. More useful is as mentioned by another. Ctrl Shift ESC opens Task Manager. What I isn't mentioned is that it should work even if Explorer Eggs is unresponsive. Use the always on top feature to make sure it never gets hidden by an unresponsive window. Ctrl Shift V pastes whatever you have in your clipboard with all formatting removed, except in the Office suite, because Microsoft says duck you and makes you use that stupid pop-up paste menu. Shut down your PC automatically after X amount of time. Open command prompt Windows key R, then type cmd, eggs, type, shut down 3600. Your PC will now shut down after 1 hour, 3600 seconds 1 hour. To cancel the automatic shutdown, type, shutdown A. Of course this works with any amount of seconds. No shady program like you often find people use needed to shut down your PC. It's all built into Windows. Auto hotkey is great. Doesn't take much to make useful scripts. Personally mostly use them in games. Like for example recently in RimWorld. There is no option to use thumb buttons on the mouse. So I made a script for that. Frequently when trading I've needed to spam clicks. Same thing. Script for that. Makes some things a lot more convenient. Yay. It's so useful. I downloaded one to keep a window always on top, even if I click on a different window. In a game called Guild Wars 2, if you hit the jump and dodge button at pixel perfect frames you can do a dodge jump that makes you go further, so I made a hotkey for that. I also made a hotkey for auto clicking in Minecraft and shit. It's so handy to be able to create a macro for exactly what you need. Plus it's so easy. I don't know programming, and even I can do it. You just need to read the tutorial page a bit. When cleaning your PC, do not use vacuum cleaner. Use compressed air cans. Static electricity produced by vacuum suction through plastic tube could kill your motherboard and everything else with it. Also, fun fact, if you decide to exchange some components inside your PC, after turning it off, remove power cable and then push power button a few times. That will discharge any powered capacitors inside, so you won't short anything during your job. Edit random all caps and a fat finger typo. Windows Defender is pretty good as a standalone virus protection. If you are looking for a way to discreetly browse Reddit at work, school and look productive, here are some good tools. Mzapplicate link makes the front page look like your email. Mzworded link makes it look like a Word document. CodeReddit link or Reddit shell link makes it look like code. So Reddit link makes it look like Stack Overflow. I need one that looks like architectural drawings. CTRL backspace delete deletes whole words. CTRL arrow keys moves cursor whole words. Shift CTRL arrow key selects whole words. Shift arrow key selects single letters. Clicking the cast button while watching gay porn will open your closet door. If you open links in a new tab, CTRL click. It simplifies navigation. CTRL with closes that window when you are done, leaving you with the previous page that you clicked the link still open. If you're going to do something memory intensive, for the love of God kill Chrome. CTRL Shift ESC to open Task Manager. F2 to rename a selected file. Sandbox C-Link is a better alternative to virtual machine if you want to run programs or browsers in an isolated environment. There's a technique called Google hacking. Basically there's some hidden commands to help you search things and filter content by using the search box. Here's a list. Cache displays the version of a web page that Google contains in its cache instead of displaying the current version. Syntax cache website name. Link lists any web pages that contain links to the page or site specified in the query. Syntax link website name. Info presents information about the listed page. Syntax info website name. Site restricts the search to the location specified. Syntax keyword site website name. Alintitle returns pages with specified keywords in their title. Syntax alintitle keywords. Alinral returns only results with the specific query in the URL. Syntax alinral keywords. Examples. In the search box enter the phrase site www.willy.com or INO. This will search the Willy website and return any references that include the name or INO. In the search box enter the phrase alinral network camera. This will return a list of web-enabled cameras that are attached to the internet. In the search box enter the phrase linkitpro TV. This will return a list of websites that link to the website itpro TV. A little warning: be careful of how many times you use the operators in a short period of time, because Google can shut down queries using these advanced operators if too many appear in a short period of time. Source Sev9 Certified Ethical Hacker version 9 Study Guide. There is a built-in Windows program for multiple screen capture and transcript called Step Recorder. Every time you click the screen it takes a screenshot. It can be paused. Once completed it creates a multimedia HTML file with all the session screenshots and a transcript on every Windows, control-click or keyboard entry. On the Windows taskbar, create a new toolbar and point it to this PC, my computer, whatever it's named for you. Drag it all the way to the left and shrink it as small as you can before you lock the taskbar again. Now you can browse all your drives through menus without having to open a single window. I've been doing this since Windows XP. Edit. Glad to see people are blown away by this. All it takes is a click to open a file, or a double click to open a folder. Turn it off, then turn it back on again. That tech support people absolutely hate people who use the line "I'm not a computer person" as an excuse for refusing to learn basic operation of a PC. Turn your PC off and on. How do you do that? Open a web browser. What's that? Person takes 5 seconds to report that they've turned their PC off and on. Sir, you turned the monitor off and on. My PC is slow. We need to close most or all of these 50 tabs you have open. No, I need those to work. Tech bangs head on desk. People that work from home remotely, if you want your PC to be as stable as possible, don't lock your PC at the end of the day. Shut it down instead. That way the next day, when you boot up your PC synches with the network server and applies whatever little tweaks going on by network administration. Disk cleanup. Use the services panel to turn off crap you don't need. Run msconfig to disable startup programs you don't want to autoload. Type app data into the file explorer bar to search for junk that's been left behind by programs.